Hey friends, thank you so much for stopping by. I have a really unique video ahead for you, at least I think it is. So you may be looking at what I have in front of me and you may be thinking, so is this a plan with me? Is this a flip through of a planner? No, it is not. Today, I want to explore a relatively new idea, at least to me, called grid journaling. And with grid journaling, at least my interpretation of it, and let's be clear, the interpretation of it's very loose, is where you basically make several little pictures, little pieces of art, and maybe you glue them somewhere, or you can build them straight from, say, like a notebook or something like that. And you use any type of medium that you want, any type of marker, paint, paper, stickers, anything that you want. And the best part of it is that it's a judgment-free zone. The goal of this is to get out of your head, stop judging and overthinking the things that you produce, and just get it down on paper. The worst thing that could happen is, maybe you're not happy with something that you put down on the paper, but the good news is, you can move on, turn the page in the journal, turn the page in the planner, whatever it is, you can turn the page, and it never had to happen. So I've decided I want to give it a shot, and I want to actually glue them into a planner. So by putting it in a planner, I think there are some really fun benefits in that you can kind of challenge yourself to maybe be creative every day, or, just create, one thing per day. Or you can do an entire weekly layout all in one shot based on maybe a certain theme. And I think it'll be fun, to glue that in the planner and flip through it after, a certain period of time. You don't have to put it in a planner. If you think that this is a giant waste of resources, you don't have to use a planner. You can use any notebook, any stack of paper, anything you want. There really aren't any rules other than just getting out of your head. So I have in front of me a big happy planner, and it is a dashboard layout. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue a square for every day of the week. And what I have here are some pre-cut squares that will fit just perfectly underneath the date. Now, you can use any paper you want. In this case, because I think we're gonna get more into a little bit on the paint side of things, I've got some hot pressed watercolor paper. I clarify that it's hot pressed. If you're not familiar with watercolor papers, they have a tendency to be very toothy and textured, and that's generally, I think, what's most easily available in most stores, and that's considered cold press. Hot press, it's very smooth, easy to apply things, and it's great. Now, if you're curious about wanting to put these squares on a planner, like me, I cut these squares to be 3 3/4 inch wide by 1 3/4 inch tall. And you can feel free to customize those measurements based on how much you want to fill. For me, at least at this time, I kind of want the date to show, but if you wanted to cover the date, definitely feel free to make it that much bigger and increase your canvas space. Okay, so we don't need the planner right now. We will circle back on that at the end. What we need is a space that we can make a mess. And what I have here is, it's really just the backing of an old watercolor notepad. And it's just really thick cardboard. As you can see, I've already had a little bit of fun with it. So we're going to use this as a little bit of a backdrop. Now, I mentioned earlier that, you can challenge yourself to maybe make one little piece of art every day of the week. In this case, I am going to do one weekly layout all in one shot. So we're going to decorate 7 of these little squares and then glue them in at the end. And what you'll see later on is that I think the key in making this really interesting is not just putting ink or paper down. I think the wow factor comes in layering. So you put down some ink and then you add some stamps and then maybe you highlight some things and maybe you add some words. You know, there's a lot of things you can do, and I'm really kind of going out of my comfort zone here. I don't really do a lot of live artsy things on my YouTube channel, so fingers crossed that this works out well. All right, so to get started, I picked out 3 colors of Tombow dual brush pens to add a little ink to these squares. Now, what I'm going to use to do that is a little clear sandwich baggie. And you can use any type of clear material just like this. You can use even like a cellophane type of material that maybe you got from something new that you bought recently. But I know a lot of us probably have these little baggies on hand at home. So we're going to use this. And all we're going to do to get started is we are going to draw, just like scribble on these bags. And it doesn't really have to follow a specific design. The goal is just to get some ink on the bag. And it's okay if you mix. You'll see that I kind of dirtied up the tip here. Tombow dual brush pens are very resilient to, you know, other colors, and they're actually great to blend colors. All you have to do to clean it up is get a blank piece of paper out later and just kind of color with it until it disappears. Okay, I think we've got something good here. What I'm gonna do, I've got a little spray bottle of water, and I'm going to add just a little bit of water to this bag. And just a little warning, a little goes a long way. I've already made this mistake. So just a little spritz. Here we go. And I'm going to take one of these cards. I'm going to put it down. I'm just going to kind of smush it around. Oh, that looks cool. That turned out awesome. I think I'm going to get just a little bit more on the other side. Maybe shake off some of the excess, and we're going to keep going. So what you may end up having to do in between, you may have to refresh your little palette here. So I've got a paper towel handy that I'm just going to keep it, just dry it off a little bit so that we can add another blend easily. So let's scribble. Now, keep in mind when you're picking out colors that, you know, you can't just use any color. Think about, you know, what we learned early on in school about the right colors that blend. You know, when you mix certain colors, you create other colors. And, you know, don't forget that when you mix some colors together, you get brown. So think about like colors. So like in this case, the green and the blue are, you know, very close to each other on the color wheel. And so we got a really great blend. And I'm totally off screen. All right, give it a little spritz. And we're gonna smush. It's okay if you get a little bit on the back because we're gonna glue it down. All right, that turned out a little bit different. I'm not sure if I liked it as much, but that's okay. That is totally okay. Give it a little tap. Yeah. It's different, but it looks really cool. Okay, the process is gonna be the same for the remaining 5 squares, so I'm just gonna speed this up. I have inked all of these cards, and I think they're dry. They are just a tiny bit curled up. Don't worry too much about that. They really get kind of warped when there's fresh ink right on them, but they tend to flatten out quite a bit as they're drying. And since we're going to add glue to the back of this, having just a tiny bit of a curl is not a major concern. You can kind of manipulate the card a little bit if you want to sort of mold it back the direction that you want. I've played with it just a little bit. All right, now it's time to lay down some decorations. So where do we want to start? I'm kind of thinking, let's start with some washi tape. This is probably my all-time favorite washi tape. I'm pretty sure I got it from the washi tape shop. I don't think it's on their website anymore, but I have seen it on Amazon. What I like about this tape is that it's mostly sheer-ish. It blends in really nicely with most light colored papers that you put on it. So what we're gonna do, this will be just very collage style. We're gonna just kind of randomly put this in place, maybe on some edges. Let's see here. Just gonna add that there. Let's add a bit. I'm pretty sure this might be upside down. I don't want these to match too much, and I can flip these around. In fact, I will go ahead and flip it around. Let's see. I think the biggest goal here is really just to change up your style from square to square. Okay, let's add one vertically. That looks pretty cool. Let's just throw it in the middle somewhere. Yeah, that looks really awesome. Okay, let's do actually a lot of washi on one of these. We'll still rip it. I'm gonna line, actually I like the bold color right there. So I'm just gonna flip it. Okay, I will trim these when I'm done. I've got them a lot of them hanging off. Okay, do I want to add washi to the remaining two? Yes, let's just do a tiny bit though. Okay. Just gonna fill in, I'm kind of focusing on filling in more of the empty spaces. And let's see on this last one. Throw it in right here. I don't even think this washi tape even says anything, but it's just so darn cute. Okay, so that's a pretty good look right here. Now let's get into some stamping. So what I have here, I've got a clear acrylic stamping block, and I picked out a few stamps. I'm not totally sure what we're going to use. We're just going to go with our gut here. So here I've got a Tim Holtz Stampers Anonymous. This is called their Correspondence set. Just some really cute vintagey looking stamps. These really would go well with anything. I think this set came from, I think it was Stamperia. And we've got some really neat textures, like a little ink blob. Get a little bit of additional maybe text in there along with the washi. I love the rings. And then I'm not sure if I'm going to do this, but I think it could add a neat bold statement, is to actually add the numbers of the corresponding dates that I intend to glue these little squares on. But let's see where it takes us. Okay, so I've got a blank piece of paper ready just to do some stamping. Let's see, first up, what do we want to do? All right, let's get Actually, let's get the Stamperia one going. Let's add some texture to it. Yeah. Maybe. Lots of trial and error here. Now, when you're dealing with texture, a texture stamp, you don't have to just put the whole stamp on the square. It's really kind of a cool effect if you can just like maybe barely tap into it or just barely get the corner of it. In fact, I think what I'm going to do is take it off of the block and I'm just going to dab just a tiny bit of the stamp into my ink. What I am going to use for ink is VersaFine. This is a permanent ink, so it's not going to react poorly with basically the watercolor that we have behind it. So let's see what happens. Again, this is a judgment-free zone. So if I decide I don't like it, I'll just change it on the next card, or, you know, I'll just know not to do it next time. So I've got just a little bit of ink on there, and let's just dab it on. And dab it on. I'm not sure how I feel about it, but let's see how all of this comes together. P.S. If you've done anything right today, if you decide to kind of join me in this, if you've got ink on your hands, you've done something right. Just a little rule here. Let's grab another one and let's use some Stampers Anonymous stamps. All right, let's go for, let's do a special delivery. I haven't used this set a lot, so I kind of gotta wrestle with these. Okay. I'm going to add that to my block. Really helpful tip I've learned about stamping is to actually flip the stamp over and then just dab the ink pad over it. That way you can really see what type of coverage you have. All right, now this is going to be very bold compared to the gentle colors that we picked, and I'm here for it. Special delivery. I'm good with it. I'm probably only going to use this on the one card because it is so bold. Let's do some ink splatter. How about that? There's a couple in here. Let's grab the smaller one. Now, I'm not really looking for perfection here, so I'm not going to do this the right way. Okay, who needs a little ink blot? This one's looking kind of plain. So let's just get it off the page a little bit. Oh, that was goofy. See, I gotta push myself to not judge this. So I screwed up and I put the sticky side, I basically mixed up the sides, and that was not the blob, but we certainly achieved a blob, so we're gonna go with it. Let's get a real blob on a couple of these. I am just making a mess today. All right, okay, I got the right side of the stamp now. Okay. Let's add a little blob there. Cute. Let's add a blob near the special delivery. Let's just do it right there. I like it. You know what always looks cool on just about any type of collage-y, abstract art type of thing? It's just to add some really obscure random numbers. And these Tim Holtz sets do a really good job at that. So we have this number 1411, whatever that means. We're gonna add it to a couple of these squares. Okay, who needs a number? Let's add a number to this guy, and we're gonna go a different direction. That looks cool. Who else? Let's add one here. Make it in the corner. I like this 247 because it looks kind of already kind of worn, like on purpose. Okay, who needs a 247? Let's do that on our special delivery. 247. Yeah. And who else? Let's do it right here. Kind of smeared it a little bit, but that's okay. This little like barcode looking border that you'll see like on real mail items. I think this would be a cool addition. Okay, this isn't cool. Well, maybe it is long enough. Yeah, it is. Okay, I am going to ink this the proper way this time so that I can really see it and make sure I got it right. All right, who needs a good border? Let's get a border on this guy. Hopefully I don't screw this up. It's kind of curved. Not sure how I feel about that. Let's see if I can get it right this time. This one needs a little border. Let's do it off the page. And let's make sure that I'm on the screen. How about that? Okay, I like it. Okay, I have figured out exactly what these cards need. They need a little bit of oomph by way of some stickers. So the background color I feel like is bold enough, but it's a little bit gentle. It's on the gentle side. So I think we could really play up some stickers here. And what I picked out, since we're kind of dealing with some blues and greens, a little bit naturey is the vibe I'm getting, minus the stamps, of course. I think we could make some of these little like daisy, I guess these are daisies, these little daisy stickers work. So let's see here. These are really hard to peel off. Okay, I got one. Okay, how do we want to do this? Now, keep in mind, we're still doing a collage style, so we can make these pop in at any angle. We can cut them. We can do whatever we want. We can overlap them with the washi. Okay, which one needs this bigger bouquet? We're really not using a lot of space on this one. I'm gonna add it here. And we'll do a little bit of trimming when I'm done. See what we got? I like it. Okay, since these stickers are kind of a pain in the butt to peel off, I am gonna do the rest of the placement off camera. Okay, I am done placing all of the flowers on the cards. And I have to say, I'm actually rather pleased with the way that they turned out. And I think the only thing these cards are missing, and I mentioned it at the beginning, and I think we're gonna do it, is I wanna add some numbers, some of these bold numbers to it that correspond with the date that I intend to place them on. So the week that we're doing this for is for March 13th. So I'm just gonna do one on camera with you so that you can see. These really get stuck on there. Okay. Let's plop that 13 down. Let's get my little ink page back out. Okay, I think I'm gonna make this one for the 13th. And what we're gonna do, we're just gonna place it in a nice bold area. So what we've done is just made a fun little card. And you know what? If you're interested in grid journaling, you don't even have to glue these down. You could turn this into a piece of ephemera. You could turn this into a journal card. The options are endless. Okay, so that's the example of the date. I'm gonna go ahead and date the rest of these. We have 7 newly done grid journaled cards. All we need to do is glue them down. We're practically done. I'm gonna get the planner back out. And I hope this is where you'll see kind of the magic happen. Think about when you're shopping around for decorations for your house. I don't know if you've ever really paid much attention, but a lot of pictures, like artwork, things that you can buy in stores, a lot of them are sold in sets. And it's like, it's a similar theme, but the pictures look a little bit different, and the intention is to post them on the same wall, and it just gives a really neat kind of cohesive look. And I think that this is what this will kind of do for this planner page here. All right, so to glue this down, I've got my Tombow permanent adhesive tape runner here. Hard to get this thing to work exactly the way I want it to. Okay, so placing this on the 13th, gonna line it up. Boom, that one's done. I'm done gluing them down. This is our finished product. It's really neat to see these together with, you know, very similar styles, but still laid out very differently. Again, it's that kind of collage, the pictures on the wall kind of look and feel. And, you know, don't forget that it's up to you how you want to do this. If you were to use a similar planner layout as me, you could even add an additional box here, because I'm probably not going to use that. Or you could use this space to reflect on maybe what you learned, because really a lot of this is also trial and error. You know, what I learned about my color combinations that I picked, or, you know, things that I would like to maybe add to it next time, or things I should pay more attention to, like not putting a stamp on the block upside down, little things like that. But I'm really pleased with the way that this turned out. And I think it's going to be a neat challenge for me just to get out of my head and just have fun using my supplies. Drop me a comment or like and subscribe if you like what you saw. And I'll see you guys in my next one. See you, friends.